Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back in the garage because we got to do something that I've been putting off for a long time because I really wanted this to work. But let's get into it. So I did the seal mate a bunch of times, and actually at one point I actually saw that it looked like it was done. However, every time I take it out it is still leaking. I do it again hoping it's going to go away, but it is still leaking, and I actually have a couple of oil spots on the ground. That's how much it's leaking. I haven't ridden it a whole bunch with it like that, but I did keep trying to get it to work, but unfortunately time has come. I'm gonna actually have to take this apart and fix it. Not 100% confident in it, but I do have my shop manual, so let's see. I do have a buddy on standby in case I need any help, but let's get into it. And I know it actually doesn't look too bad, and it probably looks pretty normal with the function, but if you look down here, it's not supposed to be like that. But yeah, let's get it off. First thing we got to do is take the front wheel off. And for a comparison, clean pinky, nothing other than dust being in the garage. Anyways, let's get the front wheel off. Okay, to start we got to loosen the pinch bolt. Some models it's all on the bottom. On the inverted ones it's on this side, so I think the regular is on the bottom. Just loosen it. Oh, and if you're wondering, that was an 8mm Allen key, and for the axle is a 19mm. A little tight. Oh, 1 second. I learned from doing the rear wheel. There's the axle. Spacer on this side. Again, I don't know if it makes a difference from on the back one. It's got 2 grooves and it's facing outside of the bike. Again, it's just a spacer, so I don't think it makes a difference. You have your vehicle speed sensor or your ABS on the other side. You just make sure that doesn't get tangled up or taunt or a little zip tie. Get it out of the way. And it should just slide right out. Now we remove the fender. It's just the 2 screws on this side, 2 on that. They're a 1/4 inch Allen. Caliper or front fender, and now we do the front caliper. This here is pretty easy. You just have the 2 mounting bolts to take it off, and then it comes right off. I'm not sure why they've done this because I don't think that's on the rear brakes from what I recall. No, they're not. But these are the 12-point nuts for whatever reason. I don't know why they can't be consistent. And that would be 3/8, it looks like. I don't know, those things are really hard to see. Should probably change those. I'm gonna have some brake cleaner I'm gonna really hit it with. Put that aside. So here we loosen the pinch bolts. Some only have 4. One here, one here. This one has 6. So 1 here and 2 down here. Now let's see if we can get a better angle of it here. Yeah, so you have your 2 here, 1 up here. I'm going to do some research, but I might only just do the 1 because the other one's perfectly fine. If I don't need to open that up, I shouldn't, right? And I'll leave the other seals for if I ever need it again. And these pinch bolts are T45. And that loosens it up, apparently. There's the fork out. I'm just going to clean that up before I start playing with it, so I don't have to use gloves for that part. So this is going to be hard to show. You're supposed to use a fork tube holder, which I don't have. However, I do have a vise that has rubberized covers for it, and it is a flat surface, so you're supposed to hold it on here, but I think it will work on here. The only problem is where my vise is located. It's going to be way up there to show you. Basically, the first step is to remove this bolt here, which is again 19mm Allen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to show of it, if I show any of it. There, now that slides down. So here's the hard part, is you got to somehow compress this down and get a wrench in there to hold it to unscrew this. I haven't figured out how to do this yet. Sorry I didn't record that, but what I decided to do was actually empty the fork first. There's a 6mm at the bottom to loosen it. This will pop up because it is under pressure, but now I'm able to get to what I need to, now I'm able to get to what I need to do according to the instructions. I think that's kind of ass backwards that I'm doing it, but if you run into the same issue that I have, or I had, I guess there is a compression tool that you can get that will go into each one of those holes up there, and you can push down and undo it that way. But apparently this will work too. I don't know, hopefully I haven't done any damage, but we'll see. So now I'm able to actually get this in there. I'm using a 17mm wrench. Now we can remove the fork from the tube. I don't know if I'll have enough room here. No, I'm gonna have to lower it down. Sorry, I didn't show that, so I put it all in there, made a big mess missing the actual oil pan. But that's all the insides out, and now I believe we get the actual fork seal out. Again, sorry that I didn't film that because it was too messy and I couldn't get the camera in position. But one of the things you do have to do is take that inner tube there and pump it a few times into the oil can or the oil pan, just to empty all the fluid out of it. It says to do it 20 times. I did a bunch until it wasn't coming out anymore. But yeah, there's actually quite a bit in there that you don't even realize until you start pumping. But yeah, that was the next step. Well, it's the next day. I've been struggling because I can't figure out how to take the dust cover off, and I've looked everywhere and I can't find anything on how to actually do it. However, I was sitting researching, and I just decided to take a piece of wood, put it right here. Will I focus? And hit it with a hammer, and lo and behold, as you can see, it's coming off. So if you guys are like me and didn't know how to actually take it off, that's how you do it, is just get something in here and just hammer it down and it's gonna come off. So let's take it off. So there, I got the dust cap off. Now the dust seal, this here is supposed to just pry it down. Now there should be a retaining clip in there. Not sure if you can see it in there, but that's the retaining ring or clip in there. Screwdriver will be better. There's the retaining clip. Now we should be able to just pop it apart. There. So now we just pry apart this piece. I'll get the name of it in a second here. There. So with this, you just remove all of them now. That's the hardest one. Here's the actual seal. Now, like, looking at it, like, I don't see any cracks or anything actually wrong with it. But regardless, I'm going to change it anyways. Let's see, remove these two, but I don't think I need to, but I'm going to just because it says to. Unless it's this that was actually the one that was leaking. I mean, there is some wear and tear in it, but again, nothing, a little bit of debris, but I wouldn't think it would leak. So I got the drag specialty kit. This is for the 43 millimeter, so that's what we're going to be using. So first thing, I've already put the my Nemesis, the dust cap on. We're supposed to kind of lube this up a little bit to make sure everything fits properly and is secured. Well, I was almost going to say welcome back to the channel, and we're back in the garage. However, if you can see, it's a couple days, actually quite a while after. Had a little bit of a hiccup. The hiccup is this is not the right size for my bike, so I had to order another one. However, the one I got is not the right size either. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to see if I can put this back in and see if it will work. Like I said, well, it was only a couple seconds for you, but quite a few days ago, when I took these out, they don't actually look too bad. So I'm starting to wonder if, sorry, I'm not even focused on it. These are the ones that came out, and they actually don't actually look that bad. So what I'm starting to think maybe what had happened when I was using the seal mate, because I didn't actually take the dust cap off. I don't think I was actually getting in far enough up, because I think I should take this off to actually do that. And again, I had no idea how to do it. So after inspecting these, like these look like almost brand new. So I don't think it was an issue with this. There was a lot of gunk and grime on them when I took them off. A lot of little gritty and everything. So I'm going to put it back together, show how to put it back together, and hopefully that corrects it. But yeah, we're going to find out shortly. But that's how you can tell it's been a few days. I actually had to move the bike over. We actually did oil change on my daughter's bike and did some maintenance on it. So it's been a little while, but yeah, let's get this thing back together, hopefully. I'm just going to give this one last good rub down, just to make sure there's nothing on there. I'll continue to do it throughout, just to make sure. I already have the dust cap on. I'm going to grease up all the components here. So the first thing is the dust cap. It goes this side down towards the wheel. Goes on. The next is the seal. Again, just grease it up. Okay, now I'm going to take a second here, because according to the manual, I'm supposed to put this ring in first before the seal. It's supposed to be the dust cap, the retaining, and then the seal. However, I went back and watched, and this is how it has it. It has this one, the seal, and then the retaining. So I'm going to do it the way it came out. Because I hope that's the way it's supposed to be. And the seal spacer. And the slider bushing. This was the hardest to get out, and I'm guessing it's going to be the hardest to get back in. It's easier to go on than to come off. Okay, now we put the fork slider into the fork tube. Sorry, I forgot to film a part because let's just say I lost my shit, because another thing I bought was this seal driver to drive in the seal. However, it's too big. 49 millimeter, it won't actually go in to be able to drive it. So I did what, I mean, everyone does nowadays, is I YouTubed it, and actually I found a guy. I'll hopefully link his video in this, but this is how he did it. Electrical tape around it and just bang it in that way. Make sure it's straight, so you're pounding it in straight. But it actually worked like a charm once I figured out how to kind of block it in there so it wasn't moving. The seal wasn't moving when I was doing it. But yeah, it's literally, it electrical tape, right? You have to do it big enough that it's gonna move the thing, but it worked beautifully. The only downside is if I'm gonna have to drive the dust cap in and the dust cover, I might have to do it again. So hopefully I have enough electrical tape. But yeah, good trick that guy showed. Again, if I remember, I'll link his video in the description. But yeah, let's get on with it. Now we do the retaining ring. I guess I should. Actually, I won't bother you with that. Actually, I'll do the retaining ring, and then I'll take the electrical tape off. What the retaining clip is simple as compressing it down into the hole. It's actually not that hard. I'll grab a screwdriver. Actually, I'll see if my so leave it on. You can just put the retaining clip in with your newfound seal driver. That worked out perfect. So yeah, now I'll just take that off and then we'll get on with it. So now just the dust seal. Actually, I think I can actually use this driver on just to tap it in, just to make sure it goes straight. So I'm not going to bore you with this one part. I just wanted to show, I've seen other places where it actually shows the actual ounces that you actually pour into the fork tube with the new fork oil. However, here it actually bases it on how many inches or millimeters that you need to fill it up, and basically you have to take the measurement from the top of here down to the oil, and that's how much oil you put in instead of doing the ounces, what I've seen other places. So mine is the Sport Glide, the FLSB, so 5.5 inches down it has to be. I don't know what these other ones are, but I think they're Breakout and Lowrider S, but whatever. I'm looking for 5.5 inches. I'll show you the diagram just so you know what I'm talking about. Oh, I went too far up. So here, basically this is the diagram here. So you're just measuring from the top of the fork down, and that's how much fork oil you put in. Simple enough, right? Hopefully I don't put too much in. So 5.5 inches. I won't bore you with it though. Oh, and before I forget, you do need to reinstall the nut on the bottom, or else you're just going to leak everything out. There is a crush washer in there. The two kits that I got do not have the same size, so I'm going to try to reuse it, and hopefully, I've seen other people, they reuse it and haven't had an issue, so I'm going to try it, and fingers crossed that there's no issue. But yeah, don't forget to install that. And I did just go over the instructions here, and not once does it say anything about putting this back in. So if you're going by the book, make sure you put this back in, or else you could have a bad time. So now we put the spring. So we fully extend the fork. We put the spring in, which I already dropped down. Sorry, I didn't film. This must be why I don't upload very often. So I did fill it up here. The reason I didn't film was because I was getting so angry with how to put this in. So once you have this piece, which is the whole tube inside, once you have that in and you have it screwed in and you fill it up, that's when you put this spring in, this collar. There's like a little retaining collar in here. And then you got to get this on. The problem is this is like a strut, and as soon as you put it up this way, it goes all the way down. So it's about here. So when you put this on, that's on the spring. This sleeve, this is on the spring. So you have to actually compress this to get it up. But the problem is it's also down, so it's down here. So even when you pull it up, it's still only to about here-ish. So what I had to do is I got this string, and I know there's probably a tool for doing this, but I got the spring, put it around the nut, ran the string through here so I could hold it up outside when I put this like through this sleeve, so I could hold it up. And then what I did is I got a wrench on top of here and compressed it all the way down, and got my daughter to put this in, the retaining clip in. Then we had to compress it again just to get this stupid thing off. So I know there's a tool that you can use for that, but anyways, that's how I did it. And yeah, now we just have to put the cap on, which is literally just screwing on the top here and tightening it here. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So we installed this onto here. So I guess I've watched other ones where it's the, what's it called, the regular forks for Harley Davidson, and they do the compression at this point to install it. So the invert, it kind of, you have to pressure it before to get that nut on, instead of doing it now, because now with the inverted I just lift this up and screw it on, so it's really easy to do that. But first, this here is what was I going to say? This here torque is 13 to 16 foot-pounds onto this nut. So I'm just going to torque that quickly. Okay, you just slide it up and tighten it up there, and it's 22 to 30 foot-pounds on this. Which, oh Christ, now I'm gonna have to hold it. I'll be back. Now we just have to install it, and we just do it opposite. One issue I have already run into is the dimensions. It has all the dimensions of the distances from the top of the fork to here. So basically, bottom tree to the top of the fork. It tells you exactly what it needs to be here. Sport Glide's not on there. FLSB is not on there. So all I'm going to do is do the measurement from this one to this one and just copy it on this side. So let's put it in. Just make sure you have your tool ready to kind of just tighten it up a little bit. So I'm just going to approximate it here. I guess it would help if I had the proper tool ready. Just put it in. I'm just going to tighten it just a little bit right now, and then I'll make the adjustments. Just get it to hold a little bit. And now I'm going to do the measurements to see where I need to go. Just made it easier. I did the measurements from the bottom of the tree because it was a nice even number that I could work with. No way, that's already almost right on. Holy cow. What are the chances of that? That can't be right. I'm gonna look at it here. There's no way I could have done it very first try like that. That can't be. Micrometer time. Just this bolt here, just loosen it for a second. And then, so it's on loosen, and then you're going to tighten it right after when I tell you to tighten it, okay? So loosen it off until it moves. Okay, put it on tighten. Don't tighten it yet, just put it. Oh, loosen it a little bit more, I think. Okay. Okay, tighten it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Thanks. That's everything. Okay, once you have that on, just tighten each one. Okay, so there's a sequence you have to do. First one, you do the bottom one, and it is 21.7 to 27.1 newton meters, or 16 to 20 foot-pounds. I only have a newton meter that's small, so I'm going to use that. And then you do this one, the top one, and same torque. Now the brake caliper. Hey, so we're out on the bike. Sorry for cutting out the out of the garage. Probably better filming in here anyways, other than the light that's coming up in my eyes. The reason we're out here is because me being horrible at filming, my camera had died. I was gonna sit around and wait for it to charge, so I finished it off that, and I didn't know it actually went out, and when it did. So basically, I think I got a little bit of the actually putting the fork back in, but it's basically the reverse of what you did before. You do need to know the measurement and then put it in, caliper, fender, then the wheel back in. I wish I would have got a video of that because I screwed up royally, as you can quite imagine. I put the caliper on, I put the fender on, and I was trying to put the wheel on it, and it wouldn't go in, because two things I had done wrong. The easiest part of this whole project was this part, and I got it wrong. Basically what I had done, and it's a habit of mine that I should brake, or at least use my, I shouldn't break the habit, but I should at least use my head when I'm working on the bike, instead of just thinking it's always the way it normally is when I'm using it. But what had happened was the bike was on the lift, obviously, and I have a habit of when the bike's on the lift and I'm raising and lowering it, I grab the front brake just in case. I have a slight decline in my flooring in my garage, so I always grab it just to make sure when it sets down it doesn't roll back. Oh, there's the train. That's how close I was to actually get hit by the train. Not hit by the train, you know what I mean. Getting stopped by the train. But anyways, yeah, there's a slight decline in my garage floor. So I always grab the front brakes, and all you geniuses out there, I'm not one of them, you know what's going to happen if you have your caliper off and you grab the front brake. It's going to close. So the rotor would not go into the caliper, obviously. And then the other thing I did wrong was I actually put the fairing on backwards. Or not the fairing, the fender. I have no idea how I did it, but I grabbed it, didn't even really look at it, and put the 4 bolts in. So the wheel would not go as far back as it should, even after I opened up the caliper. So I took it all off again, and I just did it the opposite way of the way the shop manual does. So the shop manual says, you know, caliper, fender, and then the wheel. So what I did is I put the wheel on first, I put the fender on next, and then I put the caliper on, which I think is fine. Like there's no reason why you can't do that. I torqued everything down to the proper specifications. But yeah, and then that was it. I've taken the bike out a couple of times since then, and works. No issue, no leakage, no nothing. Like you saw in the video, I used the old seals because the other two were wrong. And I think what was happening with when I was using the seal mate to try and clean it out, because you have the seal there, then you have the dust cap, and then on these inverted forks you have a dust cap cover. And there is quite a bit of a difference there, and I think when I was using it, I was just getting inside the dust cover, because I was pulling out some guck and grime and crap out of it when I was using the Seal Mate. So I thought it was working. So I think what I was doing is just going around the dust cover. So if you have a Harley with the inverted forks, 2018 or newer, and they have the dust covers on them, and you have a leaking seal and you're going to use the Seal Mate, definitely take those dust covers off first. I know I should have, but I didn't know how to take them off. I had no clue. I even went to message boards and everything. I asked the question and no one ever responded to me. So take them off and then do the Seal Mate. The Seal Mate will work a lot better after that. But yeah, anyways, I just realized I missed out all the last as I was going through to actually finish editing the video, so that's why it's been a few days, and I've taken the bike out quite a few times and no leakage. It's working great. So I'm kind of happy that I was able to do it. It was a hell of a lot higher than my pay grade, but I did manage to do it, even without the proper tools. And knock on wood, hopefully it continues to work as good as it has been the past few times I've been out. But anyways, I thought I'd come on and not leave you guys hanging just from where my video cut out when I was filming. But anyways, till next time, later.